Yay! Okay, sorry about that. It worked immediately, so we do not have to do it again. Yay!
I couldn't find the link again. It went away, and then I was like, oh, I gotta go back in my calendar and find it.
Oh, I wondered. I was like, shit, I done fucked up.
No, it was sitting there, and I was like, oh, I'll just come back to this in 30 seconds, and I'll just check I had a text message. It was gone when I came back, so I was like, oh, okay, well.
Of course that happened, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about yourself. I have no idea. I have a lot of these lined up, and I usually try, like for the first one, I'll go look right before, and then if I have like this many in a row, then I just get to meet you whenever I meet you. So
yeah. So yeah, what to tell you? I'm a podcaster, I'm an author, I'm a mom to 4 teenage boys. I have the most incredible partner. I have been divorced twice, which gives me an awful lot of school of life experience when it comes to relationships. And that's where my main focus is. And all of that said, the key piece of the puzzle that people are often missing is that it's ultimately the relationship that you have with yourself that matters most. So I approach everything from that perspective. I just on Monday published my new book, Love
I
Unstuck.
was looking at it behind you, and I was like, this has to be your book, and I am so fucking into this cover.
So that came out Monday, which is super exciting. I've been talking about
for you.
Thank you. It did manage to chart on the top of a bunch of the hot new releases on Amazon. Couldn't quite break that number 1 bestseller spot, but I got close. I got like second in one category, so
that's
awesome. That's something. But
something. And you know what? I'll tell you what everyone always tells me whenever I'm having a moment about my books. There are lots of people who want to do it and don't. So the fact that you did is amazing.
Yeah. And so this was my, I guess, my 6th published thing, because I also published 2 sweary coloring books, which are
super I love fun. That.
And I also have a companion self-discovery journal that I have published as well as my first book. And then I also co-published a collaborative book project last year. It was actually
cool.
Well, actually in March this year we published it, but we put it together starting last year. A friend of mine and I, we're both runners, and realized that we're runners and writers, and that there are other runners and writers. And so we're both from Alberta.
Oh, cool.
So we pulled together 14, well, actually, I think we had 15 other authors. One or two didn't make it to the final product, but we have incredible stories about, escaping the Ukraine war and sobriety and maybe never walking again and mental health, and my story, which was about divorce and running away from myself and finding myself. And so it's a really fun book.
Yeah, dude. That's
different little stories. So
which is that your new book or?
No, that is Run for Your Life. So
okay.
That's one thing earlier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You have things.
Good for you. Yeah. I love it for you. And I'm a swear lover. So I'm super into the sweary coloring books. I usually am the one who are gifted those things because people know that I say fuck every other word. So yeah. I used to try not to on the podcast, and then that lasted 2 episodes. I was like, listen, I'm not going to edit this much, and because I'm going to say it. And I just cannot edit this much. So we're going to just be an explicit podcast, and that's what it is. But what's your podcast?
I also can't. I don't like being censored like that.
Yeah,
and I
desire or not. That's the thing. I'm hey, good for you. But if you're offended by me, that's on you. But you're going to have to go somewhere else then, because this is my world. I'm cussing.
My podcast is called Create Your Happy. And I am in the, I don't know, 3rd, 4th season. Fuck, I don't know what I was doing around season 2 to 3. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so in between season 2 and 3, I created this masterclass series for entrepreneurs. And I stuck it in there. Season 2.5, I called it. And then it fucked with all of my stuff because now I'm on season 3, but really it's kind of season 4 because what the fuck is season 2.5? I don't know what I was doing. And now I have this long explanatory thing that I'm like, oh my God, why did I make it like this for myself? But it is what it is. So
it is. And we're the only ones who gets like locked into shit like that anyway. Like I think I'm releasing episode. I'm just realizing I didn't post today's episode, so that fucking sucks. But today will be, whenever I get around to it now, episode 89, I believe.
nice.
And so I'm like, when do I start considering another season? Like, and I kind of feel like switching after 100 just because this show has evolved so much. Like my first episode aired April 29th, and I have evolved so much. So
Yeah,
obviously
sure.
the people I'm attracting in are different and whatever. I mean, the premise is really still the same, except for that. Well, I was much more nervous than I realized when I was starting the show. At first, I thought I needed a co-host. I didn't feel like I was interesting enough, which is so cute. And then I got over that, but I was like, I just don't know if people are going to receive serious right now. So I was trying to make it like, oh my God, dude, I fucking had it like, I'm so embarrassed. It was like a game show. Like I would have like 2 people on and like quiz them on emotional availability questions and like talk shit to them with their answers, you know, like, no, stupid. That's not. It was fun. Like I had a good time, and it really was about learning and growing. Like as I was growing, but like I was still a fucking hot mess. If I'm being real honest, I was still very much in the thick of like I need to like change, and I was, but it was a lot. And like even in the early episodes, my voice was just so hoarse because I was crying all the time from the stress of this motherfucker. You know, tech issues. You know how it is. And I had zero coping skills. It was actually the podcast that finally got me to be like, I fucking get it. Okay, you're telling me that if I don't learn how to deal with the shit, you're gonna keep giving me more shit. Fine.
More shit. Yep.
I'm going to calm the fuck down. So I did.
Like, how much shit do you want?
Yeah. And I was like,
how much shit will it take?
Yeah. I was like, I promise I'm done. I'm fucking done resisting. Because I mean, I was a psycho fully, and everything was a trigger. So it was like I was just walking around, waking up triggered, going to sleep triggered, and didn't know how to manage my life. So I remember one day when I was like, okay, I'm going to choose to not give a fuck about this. Is that what you fucking want? Fine. And so I was like, let's actually work the steps that we've been learning to get through shit. Okay, I'm making a decision, and now I'm going to follow through with that decision. And here I am. But to circle back to something you said.
Yeah.
You said that like, so like, I'm like, oh, I see why I attracted you in, because our stories are very similar. And that's been the biggest key for me, was to learn self-love, and that is the only true love, and that is from that love that you receive the love of others, because you're just reflecting it back at you.
Yeah.
And boy, that was tough, because I didn't realize I hated myself to begin with. I didn't see any of those things. I was the one over here like, no, girl, you got to love yourself. What are you doing? You know, and I was like, I like myself so much. And I knew that there were parts of me that are considered dark that I was okay embracing, you know, like for instance, like how fucking hypersexual I am. That's something that a lot of other people carry shame for. And I'm like, no, bitch, I'm horny and I'm going to fuck, like, period. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to own that about myself. I've always been a very hypersexual person. I have noticed that it's very much related to hyper arousal. That is the effect that I get from that. So I was walking around in fight or flight all the time. I was horny as fuck. I'm not a lot less horny now, but you know, you really
more positive
about me, right? You needed all that information. But I mean, I just know so many people who carry so much shame over that. And I was like, baby, it's like, why? Oh, okay. And I mean, I was raised in the fucking proverbial Christian household too, like whatever. But I was like, yeah, I don't think I care about that in terms of sex. Like I learned real early on, I don't have a lot of control over this. So like, I'm going to just lean into it. Like it is what it is. But boy, the difference in every interaction that I have now, knowing like just the positive assumption, like if I'm not hating myself, then I'm not going to assume you're hating on me either. And if you are, and I get that vibe, I'm not going to believe that it's about me. I'm going to be like,
oh, that's about you.
Yeah, I'm a fucking delight. So like if you're not into that, I guess go be unhappy. I don't know, baby. That ain't about me, and just teaching
It's
like,
all good. Right? It's all
like I'm
good.
just teaching away in peace and love. Like it's not even like I don't care. I'm for you. Okay. I knew once I like hit that truth spot when I got to my fucking full alignment and who I'm supposed to be and do. It was
Some
like
people not gonna like it. Period.
Yeah, but as a formal people pleaser, that was the scariest shit ever. Like, what? I can't have the masses love me. And then I started getting really honest about like deconstructing from Christianity for my own like personal shit. And I was like, well, I live in Oklahoma, USA. And that's not a well accepted philosophy here. And I'm going to lose a lot of followers. And I did. And I don't fucking care because I'm attracting the people who are meant for me, and though that's not a loss, that's just you're not in alignment with me. And that's okay. Yeah. Go in peace and love and be in your truth. Don't come argue with my truth, bitch, but go be in yours,
Absolutely. It's not a loss. It's making space for the right people. And it's all okay. Like, thank God we're not all the same. That would be so fucking boring.
Right.
Like, thank goodness we have different experiences and perspectives. And I really believe that we are all one.
Yes.
Having all of these little unique, different, individuated experiences, like allowing us to experience a certain like individual fractal, what's the word I'm looking, how can I say it? Fractalized, I don't know if that's a word, I might be making that up, pieces of the human experience, right? I'm having problems with my words today.
Well, we're in the retrograde shadow period, so that's been my brain for 2 days. So interestingly, this is what I've kind of decided for myself is I think that we are presented people and experiences that if you are looking on the surface looks very different from us. But when you look deeper, it is truly the same shit. When I started healing, that's where I was like, okay, I can have love and compassion for other people because I'm doing this too. Every time, like I was just on a client last night who was complaining about a partner. You know how men be giving all that unsolicited advice when you want to vent,
Mr. Fix It. Yep.
And I was like, I hear you. I really do. But I bet you do that too. And I think maybe if you are like convinced that you don't do that, then you're just over here doing the listening and accepting and whatever from this place of, and then I will receive that back. And then you just created the social contract full of expectations that he now can't meet because you never even verbalized, because you didn't clearly identify what the need actually was, which was not to not give you unsolicited advice, but to be held and to be nurtured and validated and, to allow you to be soft in that moment and not have to be defensive or anything else.
Yeah. It's absolutely that fix it mode. That's not just men, that's humans.
No,
we don't want to sit in the discomfort of someone else's pain. And instead of being willing to sit in that discomfort, to sit with them, to validate them, to just be in that experience, is so uncomfortable because so many people were not taught to sit with a little bit of fucking discomfort.
Right.
We've been told that it's bad or that we're bad or wrong people.
You need to look on the bright side. You need to
bypass it, stay positive.
Yep.
And it makes us less interesting humans because all we want to do is band-aid solution all the things. And we don't actually create space for the thing that has the power to alchemize and transform those uncomfy feelings into something actually useful and powerful. Because being triggered, I like in my book, I talk about this because I don't like the word triggered. First of all, it puts like a lot of the emphasis on external shit, which is not your problem. Your problem is your internal shit. So I like to look at it as an activation. ultimately this is activating something within you to look at, to get curious about, to observe, to question, because that's how we fucking grow, right?
Yes, when I got curious, everything changed. Whenever it slowed down enough for me to be able to go, whoa, what was that thought? Like, what was that? Why did I feel that? Why is this coming up? Even still, that's the questions I ask myself anytime that, like, I identify everything through like 5 basic wounds, and it's easy for me. It's very compact, and I feel like the thousands of adjectives that you could give a feeling can fit into any one of these wound spaces really easily. So I'm like, oh, wow. So that brought up some betrayal for me. Like, I don't understand why, but let me think about that. And and damn, dude, just the amount of growth you can have just from why did that happen? Why did you fucking do that? Why am I feeling like this about that? Because that was one of my greatest sources of shame, was these fucking stupid little feelings that I would have, like betrayal over something that it was incongruent with betrayal, right? Like my husband, oh my God, just the dumbest shit. I'd be like, you fucking listened to the Home Depot employees' advice over mine when I fucking knew what I was talking about. Like, oh my God, learning, A, that's a trauma response. And B, it doesn't mean he actually betrayed you, bitch. You got to just go, I feel betrayed. Like, that's not on you. That's on me. Let me figure out why I feel betrayed. That's been the biggest shift in my mindset. And now I can see when two people talk, I'm like, oh, I can identify your shame. Like, I hear your shame. I hear everything about who you are in a really short amount of time. My ears ringing. So it's like easier for me because I can identify all that shit in myself. That's why I'm like, self first. Love yourself first. Give to yourself first. Nurture yourself. Like, anytime I'm like feeling like a need wasn't met by somebody else, I'm like, how can I meet that need? How can I meet my own needs? Because that happened intentionally so that I'd have to ask myself, but it really is just fucking getting curious.
Yeah. And it's really unfortunate that we have been conditioned, programmed our entire lives for the opposite. We've been taught that being self-loving is a terrible thing. That we're like
to your own demise to be a righteous human.
Yeah. Like, I mean, maybe we're all just divine beings having a human experience, and and this is what I believe, that we're all innately good. And religion has taught us about sin and being separate, and that's the illusion. The illusion is the separation. It's the disconnect. It's the God in the sky way out there. That's not where. I don't even like the word God on account of how religion has used it.
Me too. I hate it. I fucking hate it. I will say spirit, universe, or source before I will ever use the word God again.
Like, I will use it because I know that that's one of many. It's one of many words that really ultimately all that any of these words can do is point at a thing that is effervescent at best, right? I like all that is as my go-to term for whatever, people look at God, source, universe, the force. I like all that is, because honestly, I believe that this is all divine creation.
Right.
And we're just lucky to be a part of it. And so many of us miss that. And we think that we're separate from the world, we're separate from other people. And that's what creates a lot of the us versus them thinking, or the either or thinking, which is actually very limiting. And we can actually thrive if we ditch that either or thinking and start looking at the both and.
Right. My saying lately has been a little less of the us versus them, a lot more of the us in them. Yeah. They were us. We are them.
Period. We're all one.
Yeah.
And the sooner we can come to this realization, and man, it's taken it's taken some big book slaps with the divisiveness of the times. And it doesn't, to me, it doesn't really, I want to say it doesn't matter your political leanings. I mean, to a certain extent, because human rights are a thing.
Yeah.
But there are many reasons that people choose one side or another, and it all comes down to safety. It comes down to what they feel safe.
Yes, I'm trying so hard. like, honestly, I'm trying so fucking hard to hold space for opinions that are different than mine, because to me, this isn't about opinion. It is about human rights, but I'm not political at all. And I'm just about humanity. And the people who voted differently than me, who I have had very limited discussions, because I actually haven't watched shit about the I've tried to stay away from all of it. But the people who did vote differently that we have interacted, I've tried to say, I hear you, and I remember when that was my perception, but I still hear a lot of avoidance in that answer that you're giving me when I'm telling you that is political bullshit. I'm telling you I care about fucking humans. I voted from a place of humanity, and that I know. I remember when my emotionally unavailable ass heard other people say that. I was like, oh, right, you're such a better human than me. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I recognize what humanity actually is, what the fuck we're actually here for. And it's not that. But I can understand that's not where you are. And I do, like, I'm not just gonna, like, abandon everyone I've ever known because they think differently than me and whatever. Like, how, like, there were a few people on TikTok, like, once they just crossed the line, I was like, now I gotta block you, bitch.
Yeah,
Like, one
the
thing you said this, but when you said this, you're fucking gone. It was fine, because I heard their hearts when they were crying about losing people because they voted differently than I heard that. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to be that person until you done said this shit. And then I was like, and now we're parting ways. Like, you know, like fucking TikTok people, you know, but like people in my real life who vote differently than me don't fucking talk to me about it, because they know, like, we're not going to change each other's mind. I want to love you, and I feel your love for me. That's it. Nothing else fucking matters. It does matter, and you know that it matters, but like, I just don't think about it. That's not my
what you give your energy to is what grows. And so if you don't want divisiveness to grow, you don't put your energy into divisive things. I'm Canadian, okay? So,
you're like,
I'm just sitting here with my coffee and my popcorn. But all of that said, we are greatly impacted by your policies. So it's not just like, I don't take that lightly. I mean, I don't get a say in it, but we're definitely impacted by it, because those policies, I mean, shit, if you guys go to war, guess who's going to be on?
You guys with us, baby. Let's not play. Yeah, no, for real. And
the economic stuff affects us quite a bit as well. Like, you know, I don't want to go down too deep into a political rabbit hole, because I just think
it's just hate. Like, to even go there is just like, it's so anti what we're about. You know what I mean? And that's why, again, well, I'm gonna quit with the clarifying statements about how much I love people. I don't give a fuck. Receive me how you want to receive me. I don't give a fuck. Like, it is what it is. But it was a hard thing for me personally to reconcile, because I wanted to feel in alignment, and it didn't feel in alignment to cut people off that I love. Just because I fucking know the root of their truth, and I know why they believe the way they believe and why they do the things they do. I was that fucking person. I get it. And the more we can see the similarities between us, and not to say it's not about being colorblind, it's not about being blind to issues, it's about getting down to the very fundamental of what the fuck we are. And then you see, like, you could say this or that, and they're going to mean the same thing. Like, we're all just walking around doing the same shit, but accusing each other of doing it and not accepting that we do it too.
And first of all, like, I just think it's absolutely wild that we are here on this fucking spinning rock, hurtling,
pretty wild,
hurtling through the sky, and we're up in here, not just like, blows my mind. We're driving cars around, fucking flying planes around this planet. We're sending shit out into space. Like, we are doing some crazy shit, and yet we cannot seem to master humanity as a whole. Like, we master the fucking domain of the world, the planet, space, all of these things, but we cannot seem to master the idea of united humanity, and it is mind-blowing to me. But
It's fear.
Like you,
Everyone's
I see.
afraid of
It's
something.
fear driven. And fear is a very compelling illusion because it will have you doing all kinds of stuff, right? To protect yourself. Lots of things that
Absolutely.
are not protective, lots of things that are not good as a judgment, but you know what I mean? Things that are aligned
Yes.
for you, things that are correct for you, things that feel good in your beingness.
Mhm.
And fear creates this veil that says the world is full of suffering and the world is full of bad people and it's us versus them and we have to protect ourselves and we need to do all of these things. There are trauma responses, they're coping mechanisms, they're helping to keep us quote unquote
Negativity
safe.
bias. I mean, it is what it is.
It's just keeping you in what is known because that feels safer, but it's
Mhm.
not necessarily safer. It's not
Often, more
necessarily
often than
great
not,
for
it's
you.
going to be very unsafe for you. Like, it's like that
Yeah.
whole definition of insanity, like to continue to do the same shit and expect different results. I'm like, I
Yeah.
mean, I remember when it hit me in the face, like even like I was saying about how I was coping with stress, like I just like had to surrender because if I wanted a new experience, I had
Because
to
it's not
do,
you.
you know, like, but did you ever, like, as you were evolving and shit, did you ever, I think religion did this where it was like, you don't, yes, you have, my brain is so fried. Free will. Yes, you have free will, but your free will was designed to make you decide whether or not you were going to be in line with like God's judgment and God's purpose for you and God's like puppet mastery. Like, are you
Yeah.
going to fuck with the puppet mastery or are you going to surrender to the puppet mastery? It was basically like, in a nutshell, how I believed. And everything was just happening to me. And now the good shit, I was like, oh, yay, you have taken favor on me and I must have done something right. And then the bad stuff, I'm like, damn, I must not be living right. Oh, shit.
Oh, what a ride.
Not truth in that sometimes. Like, fucking, I'm super into astrology. So I was like, you know, Pluto and Saturn really bitch slapped me. But I mean, it was for me, not to me. Like shit, people and things were removed from my life so that I could step into this new reality. But
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't fun. It didn't make me happy, but like it was what it was. And I just had to be like, oh, but there is a purpose in this pain, like from all of it. And I for a long time could not handle the phrase everything happens for a reason because like well I don't
Sometimes
need
the reason is people are just stupid. Like,
yeah, I don't need some like uneducated asshole saying some shit to me to try to make me feel better,
yeah.
but really they just want to make themselves feel better in a moment where I'm like experiencing real fucking grief. Like, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. And actually the first miscarriage I had, my husband, I was like doing the, you know, I get, you know, there maybe it happened because of this or this, like, you know, trying to apply some bigger meaning. He goes, baby, I think sometimes some things just happen. Like, I think that they just happen and there's not really a reason and there's not whatever. It just is what it is. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I have always been a person who had to look on the bright side or get through something by like determining, you know, my feelings didn't matter. So it just happened because, and I just have to feel it. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Sometimes that, I mean, now in hindsight, I can say everything was divine. I can see the
We
divine.
can't see it when
Right.
we're buried in the shit. It's
Right.
hard
And
to
it's not
see.
helpful to try to make somebody see it. You know, just like what you were saying, sit with somebody in their pain for a minute before we start to try to like, you know?
It's actually, you know, our emotions are incredibly valuable information. The problem that humans have is this innate need to make meaning out of fucking everything.
Everything.
It causes us a lot of unnecessary suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I look at things like the state of affairs with the divisiveness, I'm not going to go back to that whole topic, but if we take that and we look at it, we can see that it's there's a lot of shit, right?
Yeah.
We can't necessarily see the good things yet. That's not how that works. Is usually, you know, while you're in it, it doesn't feel good. And if we just took the time to say, like, you know what, it's all happening. And you know how I know that it's meant to be happening? Because it is. Like, this just
Right.
is. And if I'm going to tell you that this wasn't supposed to happen, this wasn't meant to be, things are not right, things are wrong, that's just me arguing with what is. And, you know, to take a page out of Byron Katie's books, like, well, first of all, arguing with reality is a massive waste of time and energy. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Spending all of this time and energy just resisting what is, because the more you resist it, the more energy you put into it, the more that shit sticks around. The more you stuff your emotions because it's uncomfy, the more that shit comes out sideways, right? Which is when you start feeling disproportionate responses to things. A small thing ends up in a big blow up, and you're like, what the fuck was that? Where did it come from? I don't know what I'm doing there.
Yes.
Like, it's not making sense, even to you, probably, as the person having the emotional response. And if we just created more space to sit with those uncomfy things, they wouldn't have to blow up like that, right? They wouldn't have to catch us so off guard. They wouldn't have to be so problematic. And what I talked about actually in my first book, Unstuck for Women, was really about how to not get sucked into the spiral, because it's so easy to get sucked into the spiral. We have an emotion or thought that is uncomfy. And then, because we don't want to sit with it, we do all of this logic and thinking and trying to figure out the story. What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it say about me? What does it mean about the world? What is this? You know, what is the result going to be? And usually we worst case scenario the shit out of that.
Fucking-lutely.
And then
it's always worst case scenario.
We feel absolutely awful.
Well, we've got ourselves worked up in a tizzy. We've taken it like so far that we've imagined the worst case. We've experienced the worst case. And now we don't know why we feel like an absolute sack of shit. Hello, you just like went through a funeral of somebody. You just went like through all these things in your brain to like cope with a fucking little feeling. That's why every client, when they text me at some point and they're like, doing a homework assignment, and they're like, wow, I'm already crying or whatever, and I'm like, I know, but isn't it so much fucking easier than all the shit we did to try not to feel it? Like, so many things we've done to outrun feelings, and boy howdy, I had no idea that I did it too. I mean, I actually am a little tired of the whole avoidant conversation on TikTok, because it's become, they are pandering to these poor fucking people who believe that they can control this man and da la la la, and they just want to understand the man and da la la. And I'm like, okay, wild take here, wild take. We are all either a fearful avoidant or a dismissive avoidant, and you just have to pay attention to when that pattern comes out. Like, period. I started mechanisms. All of my avoidant tendencies, and I was like, oh, damn, I was not comfortable with shit. Even happiness felt scary. I would feel really in a good mood, and then I would want to go do something to self-sabotage. Like, I would think, oh, I'm going to do this because, like, if one's good, 1,000's better. And, you know, like, I want to keep this feeling going or whatever. Like, in my happiest times, I would do just as bad of things as in my lowest of times. Because I was fucking avoidant. I didn't know how to sit in any emotion at all. I'm not saying I'm great at sitting in it now, but I mean, it's a practice. Like, I do it every day, and I just try to identify what came up and feel it. And I mean, I don't think I'm avoiding, but you know, who knows? I'm just doing my best. But at least
we don't know what we don't know, right? And that's why when things come to our attention, we're like, oh, okay, I did not know that. But
exactly.
But and this is the tricky piece, because so many people do this. This is sort of like my holy shit moment, my aha moment was like, oh my God, I'm the common denominator in all of my problems.
I said the exact same thing. I was like,
oh my God, it's me. Right? You know, channeling Taylor Swift. I'm the problem, it's me.
Yes, I was
and it's easy to slide into guilt and shame. Because now we can see what we didn't see before. And so often, and this is the programming as well, and this is religious trauma, and those attachment styles, and I talk about attachment styles in my book, Love Unstuck, as well. Ultimately, there's either like a secure response or an insecure response, all of which are coping mechanisms, trauma responses. And we're we don't fit neatly into categories. That's not what it's about. Like you said, it's
Right.
like different circumstances, right? So in one circumstance, we'll maybe have memories or past experiences, impact us, and that will tailor our response to that circumstance. In
Absolutely.
other circumstances, we may not be activated in the same way, and we may have a secure response. It's really ultimately about just getting curious, being okay with sitting with it. And that's what, in my first book, The Spiral Stopper Method, is about just actually being okay with sitting with what is. Just,
Yeah.
it doesn't take that long, because what actually happens is the emotions move through you in like a minute. Okay.
Yes,
It's not a big ask.
like 30 seconds to a minute. It's not this all day thing that we think it is.
You know why it's an all day fucking thing? Is because we're attaching stories and
You're in your
meanings,
fucking
and
head. It's not your heart.
we're judging it. We're judging ourselves. We're adding the guilt. We're adding the shame. All of those things, of which we just were doing the best we could, right? When we made those decisions, when we had that response, that I literally do believe that all humans are doing the best that they can with the resources and understanding they have. And if they are quote unquote failing by your definition, and whoever's fucking definition, because I actually think failing is actually just part of the learning process. So there's no real thing as failure. But again, language is really tricky, right? Like, we can use words that kind of point to a thing, but we all have different unique interpretations. So it's ultimately, what is my experience of that word, right? And so if we can just allow that, we are always learning and growing. And not in a, we have to heal, we have to be fixed, we have to become better and better and better in self-improvement, but actually I see healing as something completely different. I see healing as a remembrance that you're already whole.
Yeah.
This is true healing. And
that
when
you were never missing anything, that you were never
you didn't need fixing, there's not,
that it was all a part of your
trauma.
Yeah.
You get to just be a whole ass human. And then you get to grow, you get to evolve, you get to learn, you get to expand. And all of those things feel a hell of a lot better than trying to fix what's broken, trying to fill in the missing pieces, trying to find happiness and love and joy and peace out there, when
it's all
all
right.
that is a distraction, because you're not gonna guarantee whatever you find out there is all temporary. This entire thing is all temporary.
Yep.
The only place where you can find solid happiness, peace, love, joy, and it is actually your intended state of being to live this way. It is the illusion of fear and pain and suffering. Sin from religion has created this hell on earth. That is that outer reflection of the inner.
Right.
Inner, you will experience a different world around you. And your intended state of being is happiness, peace, freedom, love. It's just that the conditioning and the programming and the suffering and the pain has all been piled on, and you didn't know what to do with it all. So this is an invitation to start stripping away those things that are not you, right? Yeah. To come back to that happy human divine being that is and always did exist inside of you, that was always more than enough, right? That has always been whole, that has always had everything that they ever needed to create the most incredible fucking life that lights you like so far up, like fire. It's where you're supposed to live. And I don't like to supposed to or should on people or anything like that, but like that's available to you. So yeah, take it or leave it.
Not about like
beating yourself up. Just be
like
that.
Friends that in the past were like I've always been striving for where I am now and further, right? And they would be like, I mean, that's great and that's your path and whatever, but that's not my path. And I'm like, well, you have a belief that you don't need to go be some shining star like I'm trying to be, but like you can have this internal light that you walk around with and share with others just because you are a light. But like you have to still be in alignment with your truth and your purpose to feel that from others. So like, it doesn't mean that you have to go on some major self-help journey and then go share your self-help journey with everybody else. Like that's always been my brand. That's what I've been my whole life, is going through the darkness, finding the light, and then becoming the light. That's what I've done my whole fucking life. That's my purpose. But your purpose is to find that internal self that you've been so fucking disconnected from your whole life because you were told that you were unworthy, you were too much and not enough all at the same fucking time.
Yep.
Too loud, too quiet. You don't talk enough, you talk too much, whatever. Just connect and say, I embrace every fucking ounce of this because this is perfect. Because we are designed to do all of the shit that I'm like, I'm a fucking perfect human because I am real good at humaning. I do a lot of humaning. I'm not some like unworldly being. I am divine in my human nature. Like, yes, I feel
imperfect.
Exactly. So I do feel connected to my highest self, but like I'm embodying this humanness.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very connected to who I am as a human. I feel connected to who I am as a not human too, but like this is what we're doing here, man. We're just here and we're supposed to bring more people in and community and love and whatever. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be like a fucking high priestess out there sharing all your spirituality and whatever to be a light. Like just like embrace yourself and there's your light, find it and share it. That's all. It doesn't have to be you're a famous singer or a famous podcaster or whatever, a famous
so
author.
Simple than so many people think it has to be. It is really, to me, ultimately about living in alignment for yourself, which is authentic living. That is just showing up and being you. Like, here's the thing. Yeah, I wrote a book about relationships. Your relationship might look very different from mine, and that's like more than okay. It's actually really beautiful that yours does not look the same as mine because it would be so boring if we all looked the same.
Right. This
is an invitation for you to look inwards, to find your truths, right? To uncover the truths of who you are, which you and I think we can see the potential in people,
right.
the soul level being inside of people. Even if they can't yet see it for themselves, even if they're still wearing the weight of the world and the weight of all of those beliefs and mindsets that are telling them. And I talk about that too, like this like paradoxical, like I'm not good enough and I'm also too much at the same fucking time. Like clearly, there's no way to win. Right. No matter what we do, we are imperfect.
Right.
And that's actually perfect because that's part of being human, you know. It's funny, when I first started dating my partner, like we had this like whole talk about like, you know, like one time I like farted and he was like, oh my God, I finally know that you're human. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh, thank God. Like, we're not doing this pretenses of fucking pretending that we're perfect. You know, I've seen couples where like literally one person will go to the other end of the house to go to the bathroom because they don't want their partner to know that they poop. Well, newsflash, like I think there was a children's book written about this with this title, Everybody Poops. Okay, like this is not new information. We all do. And so if we could just let go of some of the shame of being human, I mean, I'm not saying let's have parties, but
like
we don't have to.
I had this conversation with a friend like last year where I was like, you're not shitting because like you're making him go outside when you shit. Like, and I remember whenever I was in when I first got with my husband, because I was married before, and I felt like one of our problems was probably that I was a little too open with all of that. Like I was naked all the time if we were home alone and just shitting with the door up. Shit, right? So I was hesitant to do, like, farting had to happen immediately because I was having all these GI issues early on. And
it's painful to keep it in.
I had to eat all these prunes one time, and he came over and I was like, look, I'm just gonna tell you, like, I want you here. I can't hold this in. Like, I cannot. And so I'm gonna fart and we can acknowledge it. And he's so great. He never even acknowledged if I farted. He just kept talking, whatever. But it was a really big deal to me because I carried shame over human functions. And then now, like, I'm still not going to shit with the door open, but he can stand outside the door and finish his story or whatever. But I'm like, bro, your husband has to, like, you how long are you going to make him go outside when you shit, baby? Like, what the fuck? Like, what?
Okay, listen, as a formal people pleaser, I know that there is a tendency to want to like show up in the good girl conditioning
forward. Yep.
The good girl conditioning that we were conditioned under. And there's conditioning for men too. Their conditioning is more to like win at all costs, right? And be a strong man who doesn't feel anything except for anger. That's totally fine. You can not really an emotion. According to a lot of men, they don't have any emotions, but they're angry as fuck. So anyway, but women, because I speak largely to women, we have this good girl conditioning. We've been told our entire life since we were walking that it's like our job to nurture and love other people at all costs. It doesn't really matter if we want to. No, you're a woman. You're here to do this.
You are not righteous if you don't.
And you are not a good girl if you don't sit quietly, if you start asking questions, if you start ruffling feathers, if you start being too much yourself, right? Having too much emotions that make other people uncomfortable. But listen, all this conditioning is stacking up. Now we're grown-ass women who still think that we have to be nice about everything. And we can be kind. That is not the same as being nice. Being nice means to be literally pleasing and agreeable. And often that niceness means abandoning ourselves. And so what happens when you repeatedly abandon yourself to be nice to other people? You end up resentful as fuck, disappointed, frustrated, probably angry, which is, of course, not a socially acceptable emotion for the woman.
Right.
That's not okay. We're like allowed to be
shame was anger.
Like we're allowed to be like sad.
Yeah, you can be in your sad girl area, but you know you can't be mad because
no,
that's
not feminine. It's not ladylike. It's not loving. It's not nurturing. And I call bullshit on all of that because it's not the emotion that's the problem. Yes, we can choose behaviors that are problematic for ourselves and for other people. And so if instead of being nice, instead of wearing masks and showing up and pretending that, oh, I'll just be what everyone needs me to be, I'll make my partner for life think that I don't poop by, hiding it all. Like it's these silly little ideas that we have. And it has us showing up. This might be me sucking in your gut forever because you don't want someone to think that maybe you got a little chub going on. Like they seen you naked. Like what? There's no hiding. But I don't know if you're like
are you gonna suck it in while you fucking, or what you gonna do, girl?
I mean, I'll tell you what, that takes up a lot of mental space. And I know I have been there, and it does not make for a pleasurable sexual experience for you to be so in your head about
how you look.
Okay, your bodies make weird noises when you could be weirded out about it and be in your head and be in some other place where you can enjoy the fuck out of it. Like those are your options in that moment. So enter the spiral stopper, because honestly, it's the stories.
Yeah.
It's the masks, it's the performance, it's the trying, it's the attempt to measure up and get other people to like me because that's where I'm seeking my validation and acceptance and love from other people.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to do that because actually that's not other people's jobs, and you're outsourcing what never was meant to be outsourced. This is an inside job. Your happiness, your internal world reflects into the external, version of reality that you're experiencing. And I say it that way because our perception creates our experience of reality, right? Two different people experience the same situation completely differently. This is how we know, there might be one version of reality that is factual, kinda, but there are multiple ways of perceiving those very same facts.
Right.
If you have a different lens, you're going to see different shit, and it's going to just be a different experience. So allowing that you have a different experience than probably all 8.2 billion people on the planet. No one has one just like you. And then all of those other 8.2 billion people on the planet are also having a different experience. It leads you to say, like, listen, I don't really understand where you're coming from per se, because your experiences every moment leading till right now are different from mine.
Right.
They can't not be. And so if we can start to just look at other people like, hey, like, I want, like, what has that person been through? Someone's struggling, going through a hard time, someone maybe not following the rules of society. there's a reason for it. Okay. Because humans we don't go out there. We don't actually self-sabotage with the intention of like, I'm gonna go fuck up my life today. Self-sabotage is actually self-preservation. It's fear-driven, and it's an attempt to stay safe in what's familiar, period. Right? It's to bring you back into that quote unquote comfort zone where you just know what to expect. Because outside of it, while that's where unlimited possibility and opportunity and literal fucking magic happens, it's unknown. And so we have to have courage to step out into the unknown.
Absolutely.
And it's worth it. And we deserve it. Absolutely. And yet our conditioning can keep us stuck. And actually stuck isn't even like a bad thing either, because complacent would be far worse than feeling stuck. Stuck is actually like sort of like this feeling of there's an
desire, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, there's an incongruence between I'm here and I really like to be here. And usually we feel stuck because I don't know how to fucking get there. Right. And often we analysis paralysis. We want to find the whole plan and get all figured out.
Got to know every step before I can take the first one.
That doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It showed up.
And I will tell you, lots of trial and error on that one to find out that doesn't work. You can only just take the first next step. You can have an idea. You can have a destination in mind. You can have a general plan. That's all great. But if you are someone who is waiting to take the first step until everything is perfect and that you're ready, you're never going to get there.
Yeah, it's kind of like when people talk about having kids. You're never going to be ready to have kids. It's just like, you're not going to feel like, yes, I am my perfect self. And this is how I should be to raise children. And I don't know. I think too, like we just spend so much time. I think so much of the spiral happens because we are so afraid to look inside and understand that like, this is just my world and everybody else is just living in it. And this is their world and we're all living in it. We're all trying to find a way to coexist within each of these little mini universes that we have within ourselves. And until more people understand that, it's just going to be the perception is you did this to me instead of, oh, I'm having an experience and I need to figure out what this is. Why did I attract this into my life? Because if the reflection of me that I am seeing is negative, I got to fix some shit.
It's a mirror. It's a mirror invitating. I like making up words. Inviting you to look inward, essentially. Yeah. And what I say, and what is a big premise of my book, is you don't actually have relationship problems. You have an identity problem. Absolutely. You don't know who you really are. And when you don't know who you really are, when you think you're just I don't even know what people necessarily all think you are, but maybe you think you're just this person in a meat suit going about your business. You're just someone who goes to work, you work 9 to 5, you go home, you watch Netflix, you do your thing. Maybe you think that you have a little bit more control over your meat suit. Maybe you have this illusion like, I go to the gym all the time so that I keep this meat suit in tip top shape, right? Yeah. Like there are so many different ways of looking at yourself that are essentially illusions in the external that don't touch on who you really are, which is a creator.
Right. Like what are your gifts? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses that are actually your strengths? What are your hobbies? What gives you joy? Like so many people cannot answer those questions.
Yeah. You're uniquely designed for whatever it is, the fuck that you were here to do. Like when there is a problem, when you're miserable, when you're unhappy, when you're feeling stuck or like there's something more, it's because you're not expressing yourself, right? You're not connected with what you're here to do. And it doesn't have to be some grand thing. Like some people are here to throw paint on a wall. Okay. It's not like some grand purpose that you have to
except for to learn what it is you need to learn to step into whatever your identity is. That's it.
Yeah. That's it. Just to be fully you.
Just be whoever that is.
Holy. Yep. Like, and there's, I share in my book too, like, I know I wrote a book and I have some answers. I don't have all of your answers, but you do. Right? You do. I'm not the love guru. I'm here to help you become your own love guru. I'm here to help you uncover the patterns, beliefs, mindsets, and maybe missing skills, because let's be honest, communication skills were actually like the opposite of taught in school. You were told to sit down, shut up, and be quiet, and don't ask questions. Like that does not work in life. It works to control people, right? It works to keep them fear driven. Like our education system also contributed to this. You weren't, you weren't encouraged to be yourself. You were encouraged to fit in a box and be just like everybody else. Yeah. And so no wonder we're all struggling. Who the fuck am I?
There's a reason the tests are standardized.
But humans aren't standard.
Like,
right? We can't be. And so it's
at your own standard.
Exactly. The rules are all made up. And so I always kind of like to just jokingly say, like, we're all Delulu. Okay, we're all delusional.
I'm like,
you're good delusion, man.
Like, I'm like, hey, if you're gonna sit here and think about the worst case scenario, you better fucking get good at the best case scenario, because I'm not going to sit and listen to this bullshit. Like, what if this? What if this? That's why I call myself a non-traditional therapist, because I'm gonna call you on your shit every time. Okay, I have to rush off. I'm so sorry. I have the next one lined up and they're popping on, but I have loved this conversation. I'm gonna recommend your book to some clients, and I will make sure that I mention all of it in the intro too. Any links that you want, you just send over, and I will make sure anything you want is in the show notes. And usually if someone sends a bio, I'll even read that out loud in my intro whenever, because I just do all that separate. I love this part to just be a conversation, and then I just do a little quick intro saying who the guest is for that day and whatever. So
sounds good. I will send you some things. You can use what you like and
I would love you
discard the rest. And if there's something else that you'd like me to include, I do have these really fun sweary meditations.
Love it.
So I can share that with you as well. They are
really anything you're willing to send me. I love all resources. I'm collecting community and resources.
I will send you a couple, because more than a couple is too overwhelming for people, and they probably won't check out anything if there's too many, but I will send you a couple of things. And
okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. I'm going out for lunch with a friend, and so that's
I'll probably stalk you from here on out, because I'm just trying to be besties with everyone, so just be prepared for that.
Awesome. I love it. Bring it on. I always love new friends. So
okay,
amazing. Okay, keep me posted when it's coming out too, so I can share.
I will. I promise.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.